So in this video, I am going to discuss about the nozzle efficiency, the friction in the nozzle and the effects of friction in the nozzle. As we can see that the process 1 to 2 in this TS diagram shows the process taking place inside the nozzle. The nozzle basically leads to the drop of pressure or the drop of enthalpy in terms of the heat loss, and on the expense of this heat loss it gives an extremely high speed jet of steam. So during the process 1-2, what happens is comes into play between the walls of the nozzle and the fluid flowing through the nozzle, and the second possibility of the friction is among the layers of the fluid which is moving inside the nozzle. So ultimately, due to this friction, heat is released, and this heat, as it is generated inside the nozzle only, it is absorbed by the steam inside the nozzle, and thus the steam gets reheated. And due to the reheating, its dryness fraction is increased. As we can see from the TS diagram, the actual condition of steam when the friction is acting is shown by the point 2 dash, and the ideal condition when the process is taking place isentropically is shown by the point 2. So this TS diagram, we can see that when the process takes place isentropically from 1 to 2, the heat drop is higher, and when the process is diverted due to the friction and the final condition is 2 dash after the expansion, the heat drop is reduced to HD dash. Now the increase in entropy due to the friction is shown by this diagram, this TS diagram, where we can see that when the process was taking place isentropically, it was constant entropy from 1 to 2, but when the process is diverted due to the friction, and the process becomes 1 to 2 dash, the increase in entropy takes place from this line to this line. So we can see that the friction leads to reduction of the heat drop, and this heat drop is actually found to be 10 to 15% of the total heat drop, which is in the ideal case. So from this thing we can calculate, or we can find a formula for the efficiency of the nozzle, as due to the friction the nozzle is performing in a worst manner as compared to it would have performed in the isentropic conditions. So the formula for nozzle efficiency can be mathematically formulated as heat drop along with the friction, or it is also called actual enthalpy drop, divided by the heat drop without friction, that means in the ideal conditions. So as we can see from the TS diagram that the actual heat drop with friction is H1 minus H2 dash, and ideal will be H1 minus H2. So hence the formula for nozzle efficiency will become H1 minus H2 dash and upon H1 minus H2. And as we know that enthalpy is a function of temperature only, so we can have CPT in place of H1 or H2. It will be CP1 and CPT1 and CPT2, and hence we can have the nozzle efficiency by in terms of temperature also, which is T1 minus T2 dash upon T1 minus T2. So now we will discuss about the effects of friction on the conditions in the nozzle and through during the flow through the nozzle. So as I have already discussed that friction leads to heating, and hence the steam inside the nozzle which is flowing inside the nozzle gets heated, or it may be called as reheated due to the heat obtained from the friction, and hence its dryness fraction increases. Fine. So this is sometimes also termed as reheating of steam. Now as we know that the specific volume of steam which is at higher temperature is larger than the specific volume of steam which is at lower temperature. So naturally when the dryness fraction of steam increases, the specific volume of steam will also increase. So the friction also leads to increase in the specific volume of steam. Now another effect of the nozzle friction can also be stated as it also reduces the velocity at the exit of the nozzle. Now how this happens is the velocity at the exit of the nozzle, as we have already discussed the formula for velocity at the exit of the nozzle in the last lecture. So it is C2 is equal to under root of 2 H1 minus H2 into 1000 for the conversion of kilojoules into joules plus C1 square. When we are taking the C1, that is the inlet velocity to the nozzle, we are considering this, and if we will not consider this, the formula will not have this and the rest will remain the same. The velocity C2 is dependent on the heat drop H1 minus H2 which is taking place inside the nozzle, and because of the friction this heat drop is reduced, and hence the velocity at the exit of the nozzle, that is actual velocity C2 dash, will also be reduced along with the reduction of the heat drop. Now we can also write the efficiency of nozzle in terms of this velocity by using the formula which we have derived earlier using the steady flow energy equation as H1 minus H2 is equal to C2 square minus C1 square upon 2, and we can also write it for the actual conditions, which will be H1 minus H2 dash, which is the actual heat drop, is equal to the C2 dash square, that means the actual velocity square, minus C1 square upon 2. Hence the nozzle efficiency, which was right now stated as H1 minus H2 dash upon H1 minus H2, will also be equal to the ratio of these two, and we'll get this formula. Now as we have already neglected the C1 in multiple cases, when we'll not be having the value of C1, then we'll neglect the same. And as I have already told you that the velocity of steam at the inlet of nozzle, the steam is coming from the boiler and the velocity is negligible as compared to the velocity at the outlet of the nozzle. Hence in multiple cases, in many of the cases, it will be neglected. Whenever it will be given, we'll take it into account. So neglecting the velocity, eta nozzle can be said to be C2 dash square upon C2 square. So now we'll discuss some basics about the friction in the convergent divergent nozzle. So what is a convergent divergent nozzle? We have already discussed this in the classification of the nozzles. A convergent divergent nozzle is a one which has a convergent section and then it further has a divergent section as shown in this figure. So this is the inlet, this is the exit, and the area and the portion with the minimum area in the center is shown as throat. So this is known as throat. Now what is special in the friction in the convergent divergent nozzle is, as you can see from this figure, that the portion which is convergent is smaller as compared to the divergent one. This is actually a very significant design of the nozzle, and why this is so will be discussed here. As we know that in the nozzle the velocity will increase from inlet to exit, and in a convergent divergent nozzle, what happens is the velocity is subsonic in the convergent portion, it becomes sonic at the throat, and then towards the exit it becomes supersonic. So the velocity keeps on increasing from inlet to exit, but in the convergent portion the velocity is smaller as compared to the divergent one. And obviously, as we know that friction is dependent on the velocity, that means if C2 will increase or the velocity will increase, the friction will also increase. So the friction will be negligible in this portion due to the less velocity in the portion, and friction will be higher in this portion due to the high velocity. Hence the process in this particular region, which is the convergent portion, can be taken as isentropic, or we can say that friction in this section can be neglected, but the friction in this area or this section cannot be neglected as it will be higher, and hence it has to be considered, and the process will not be considered isentropic in this region. Now the length of this divergent portion is to be kept long to avoid the separation of flow during the flow through this divergent section, as during this flow there will be an increase in area which may lead to the boundary layer separation, which you might have studied in the fluid mechanics in the third semester. Now this divergent portion also has a larger area in which the steam rushes, and hence a larger turbulence is there in this section, which may lead to large friction as compared to the rest of the section. So the design of this divergent portion is significant, and the two things to be kept in mind during this design are to avoid the separation of flow during the flow through the nozzle, and to minimize the loss of heat drop due to the friction. Now, to minimize the separation of flow, the angle of this divergence, this divergent angle, is kept between 10 to 25 degree, so that it is not very acute, and hence it will prevent the flow separation during the flow through the nozzle. Now, the smaller angle will lead to the increase of length of this divergent portion, and this will lead to increase of the frictional losses. Thus, an optimization is needed, or we can say a compromise is to be made while deciding the length of this nozzle and the angle of divergence of the nozzle. And the two things which will be kept in mind will be the flow separation should be avoided, and as much as possible minimization of the friction should be there. So when these things are considered, practically the length of the diverging section can be approximated by using a formula which is 15 into A2, where A2 is the cross-sectional area of the throat. So, sum up the different factors on which the nozzle efficiency depends, which are the material of the nozzle, which will change the friction, as the surface of the nozzle will depend on the type of material it has, and the friction is based on the contact between the walls of the nozzle and the fluid. So obviously the friction will be affected, and hence the nozzle efficiency. Now, size and shape of the nozzle will affect the friction only, and thus the nozzle efficiency. Angle of divergence we have already discussed. The nature of flowing fluid already will affect the efficiency, as it will have a different friction. Different fluids will have different friction along with the walls of the nozzle and the fluid. So now we'll discuss two different factors which are very important when we'll do the numericals. So first is the coefficient of velocity, which is the ratio of actual velocity to the isentropic velocity at the exit of the nozzle. So it may be C actual upon C isentropic. Then second is the coefficient of discharge, which is the ratio of actual discharge, which is in case of the friction case, and then to the ratio of actual to the ideal. Ideal means isentropic flow जब हो रहा है उस टाइम पर जो discharge होगा, so it is ideal. So coefficient of discharge will be m actual upon m isentropic. So this is all about the nozzle efficiency and its effects on the flow through the nozzle, and we'll discuss the supersaturated flow and choked flow in the next video. Thank you so much.